The rumors have been flying thick and heavy, like muggy summer air. Ladies and gentlemen, the godfather of SL Wrestling, the founder of DCWF, the man, the myth, the legend, the person who has made it very possible for each and every one of you to even bring your peepers here, Alpin Criss, scheduled to appear at the end of the night to address the DCWF universe.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking, Rainbow Falcon here, and welcome to the Wildfire Podcast. I'm here with probably pretty much the father of Second Life Pro Wrestling, Alpin Criss. Hey, what's up, man? Regarding yourself, as you said that you haven't been in Second Life like since for a while, but what have you like? Every time you see changes to how SOS has become, I'm talking about from when you left to when you came back, as all of these changes, how did that like spark your imagination back up?
Well, I mean, and you do a ton of stuff for Second Life Wrestling. I know you have so many projects. You always show me your projects, but the big thing is every time I come back, I always get the same array of IMs and stuff. Not just the welcome back or Alpin's back, but I always get the guys as everyone's just oh, the community's dying, oh, the community's bad, and then I log back on after being away for a few months, and I'm always like, man, things are thriving. Look at all these great feds, and I love going around and seeing all the great arenas and stuff that people build, and I'm just blown away. I mean, I think it's hard because people see such great products and works and designs out there, and all the great animations that have been made and all the great moves that have been made. And people who have been in that day to day and seen that later into development, they don't remember the old days when it was like, basic arena, and it was like a basic ring, and it's like everything's square and textures were all basic, and it's like, they don't remember where we came from. And I have that full history, so when I log back on, everybody's like, "Oh my God, things are so bad." And I see multiple people making wrestling boots, wrestling tights, and all this stuff. I mean, when we started, nobody made wrestling gear. I mean, you couldn't get it anywhere. Now you see all these great people making all this great stuff for the wrestling community, and it's just, people don't understand it's thriving. And I think the burnout, is something that, the people who are in it knee deep, running promotions, and the people who are in it 24/7, they're the ones that kind of have that other perspective of, because there is a bit of burnout. There's that day-to-day grind, and when you don't have that, like I haven't had that, you can see the community from the outside in a little bit, or the periphery, and man, it's so exciting to see where everybody's gone, where everybody's at, and all the great stuff you all are doing and creating. I mean, from your card game that I'm super excited to see, because I think that's awesome. To dolls, to shirts, to gear, to new move animations, to new arenas, to new systems. It's just, there's so much great stuff out there. Every time I come back, I'm blown away by what everybody's done, and it's always such an awesome thing to see. And eventually you res back on, and people talk to you, and you're like, what, I can get back into this. I'm excited by this game. I've got some great ideas, and let's see how they play out.
Awesome.
Fools and fiends, friends and follies, are you ready for our promised special guest? For those of you who know who he is, the man has heralds and acclaims that go as far and wide as the sky above. For those of you who are new to Second Life Wrestling, you have but one man to thank for it. That's right. He's a heartbreaker, a dream maker, a love taker. Don't you mess around with him. He is the Nature Boy, Alpin Criss.
I'm ready, Derek. Let's go. Cannot wait to hear what he has to say.
And I stepped down that aisle, and I walked down the ramps, and I stepped up these steel steps, and I climbed through these ropes, and I wrestled under the banner of SLCW. Eight long years. And at least 5 of those years, I was outside of the SLCW. And as a DCWF, you guys have taken the ball and ran with it. And you guys have thrived. Nothing brings me more pleasure. Nothing makes me smile bigger than being back in this ring on Warzone in the very first Fed, in the very first wrestling promotion, on one of the very first shows that Second Life ever had. The Nature Boy has a long history in Second Life Wrestling, but there's no history that I have that runs deeper than the history I have with the DCWF.
Looks like Numbers Rossini decided to join us.
What is he doing? He was going to announce something big.
What? What is Numbers wearing? Is he wearing a robe? Wait, Numbers is wearing a wig and a robe. Oh, Numbers, come on. What is this?
I almost can't watch.
Woo! Woo! One more time. Woo! Limousine riding, jet flying, wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing, son of a bitch. You know, all of you here tonight, all of you sheep are here tonight because we put out some Facebook advertisements and we put out some notices that Alpin Criss was going to be here. Let me tell you about Alpin Criss. Let me tell you about the Nature Boy. He's an absentee father. He's a guy that shows up every 6 months to get his applause, to get his love, to get his women, and to shake a few hands, kiss a few babies, or shake a few babies and kiss a few hands, whatever the old bastard is doing today. And then he leaves again, and then he comes back again when he feels like he hasn't got enough love. You're proud of the DCWF? I wipe my ass with your pride, Alpin. You're the guy who couldn't handle Eric Stewart, so you had to hand over the business because you couldn't handle a little fucking chihuahua. You couldn't click the mute eject button like the rest of us. You are not the man who had 100 people on sim at WrestleFest. You are not the man that kept the DCWF going. You have no right to be proud of something you had no part of. And I defy you to come out into my ring, into my house, the house that Numbers Rossini built, and tell me a damn thing about your pride. I gotta say to that, Nate. Woo!
Numbers does bring up a damn good point.
I've got something to say about that. Numbers Rossini. You've been saying a lot of things about the Nature Boy. You've been doing your best to get the attention of the greatest virtual wrestler alive today. Well, now you've got it. And he's here to make sure you get your facts straight. You're not talking about Marcus Raymond. You're not talking about Ryan Fury, Jack-O-Lantern, Mad Mike Straff, Sparkles Von Quinworth, Vlad the Super Czar. Alpin Criss has headlined the first title match in Second Life at the first free per-view and the first blood match against Sydney Washburn. Alpin Criss has headlined the first WrestleFest, been pushed to the limit in a marathon Ironman I Quit match against Tenzin Keru, one of the toughest champions DCWF has ever had. I've done it all in virtual wrestling, from one side of the metaverse to the other. I was the man in SLCW before you knew what SLCW even was. Absentee father. It's good to know you know who your daddy is, Numbers, because daddy is back, and it's time to see what kind of man you really are. Woo!
Is tapping for his life. But will the Nature Boy relent?